Hi everyone, this is part 2 of the topic how to design a mixed method research. If you haven't watched my part 1 video, I encourage you to go over to my channel and watch part 1. Here is part 2. In this part 2 of the video, I'm going to share with you how to design a mixed method research that can provide confirmation about the outcome. Similar to part 1, there are 3 steps as well. Step 1 is to determine the kind of intervention or the kind of a program that you want to evaluate. Step 2 is to determine the sources of data and the measurement use. In this case here, to provide confirmatory purposes, it is not just using one tool but using many tools. And step 3 is to compare the measurement from these different sources. So before we look at the design of the mixed method research for confirmatory purpose, a few important principles that you need to think about. That is the validity of the measurement that you want to use, as well as the validity of making the comparison. Here are 2 examples that I want to share with you. For example, you compare the changes in the amount of food eaten and the changes in the body weight. Especially for some people who want to lose their body weight, sometimes they are very curious. How come today I eat 1 kilo less of food, but that doesn't result in a 1 kilo less in body weight? So we have to think about the validity of comparing the measurement. The other example is the increase in the study time and the increase in the level of online engagement, etc., etc. So you have to look at the validity of making comparison. You don't just put 2 or 3 different measurements together and make comparisons. So it has to be valid in terms of its comparison. I hope these 2 examples give you some idea. Now, in this kind of design, you compare the changes in the pre-test and post-test, and at the same time, you also want to get measurement from other sources or other types of measurement in order to support the changes in the pre-test and post-test. And one of the very powerful example or measurement that I want to encourage everyone to think about, to consider seriously, is actually time series data, because time series data capture the changes over a series of time, at least 10 points, okay, 10 points, time series data, and you compare the time series data when you plot it on the graph with the pre-test and post-test, and you ask yourself, does it make sense, the time series trend and the pre-test and post-test changes? And in the field of education, you can also consider the use of learning analytics that are always located in learning management systems. That will be able to provide you with a lot of data that you can actually make comparison. But like I said, there must be valid reasons for you to make the comparison of these amount of measurement of the data. Are they painting the same picture? So this is a key question that you have to bear in mind when you make the comparison of all sort of data. But of course, the general principle is that if you have more measurement, there is more validity. Okay, it's just like, for example, if a person is not feeling well, he or she go and see a doctor. The doctor will always ask, what are the areas in the body that you don't feel comfortable, okay, and how's your appetite? And the doctors probably will take measurement, your body temperature, your blood pressure, and other kind of measurement, the pulse, and so on and so forth. So doctors take a lot of measurement in order to diagnose the sickness. So likewise, when we talk about mixed method research design for confirmatory purposes, we use the same principle as well. More measurements can be better, and there's more validity and reliability. So the main contribution of mixed method research design for confirmatory purpose basically is just one, that is to determine the effectiveness of the intervention with high level of confidence. Now, in reality, these are the kind of methodology being used when they are evaluating some kind of intervention. Like an example that I came across in one of the previous research, the authority wants to evaluate the effectiveness of reducing the opening time of bar and the number of road accidents. So they look at these two sort of data. So certain weeks they reduce the number of opening hours of bars, and then they look at the number of road accidents, day and time, day and night, for example, and they compare the data. And it was proven that actually by reducing the opening hours of bars can actually reduce the number of road accidents. Okay, this is just one of the past studies that I came across. There are a lot of past studies that use mixed method. So I encourage everyone to go and explore. Right, there are a lot of possibilities. And because why a lot of possibilities? Because it involves the use of different kind of methods. So it's actually up to you to think, where the data is and how you're going to collect it, and whether the data that you are getting are able to give you that confirmation about the effectiveness of the intervention. So I hope you find this video useful. If you like this video, again, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video.